Welcome to the Coachzing Show, helping you work less, earn more, and reach more people through creative content marketing. Join the Coach Zingers community, where the world's best coaches, therapists, authors, and speakers come together to discover the latest trends, forge powerful joint ventures, and grow their business together. Go to coachzing.com/community to join. And now, here's your host, Doug Foresta.
Hello and welcome back to the Coachzing Show. This is Doug Foresta. As always, this is a show we help you coaches, therapists, speakers, and authors to work less, earn more, and help more people through creative content marketing. With me today are Cliff and Marta Wilde, and I will say this, before I introduce them, that, one of the things that I know for me that has happened is it's so easy for me to get caught up in helping people. And, my background is as a therapist as well, and it's so easy to put on 20 pounds or just let my own health and wellness slip away while I'm helping everybody else. But, then we can't have that bigger impact. So Cliff and Marta really help us to remember to take care of ourselves and also take care of our clients. Cliff and Marta Wilde are the founders and directors of Wilde Performance, where they help clients live a truly remarkable life without limits through body and mind breakthrough programs. They're innovators in combining a variety of alternative therapies that have helped hundreds of entrepreneurs and business owners around the world transform their physical and emotional health, and as a result, improve their business productivity and life balance. Their clients have often tried many conventional and alternative approaches and have not been able to get anywhere. They feel stuck, but deep down inside, they know there's something to get done so that they can feel better again. And they make things simple and easy to understand. I encourage you to visit wildeperformance.com. That's WILDE performance.com. And we're also they also have a very cool Facebook group, which I'll share more about that later in the show. Cliff and Marta Wilde, thank you for joining me.
Hello. We're very happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Well, thanks. So before we go into the usual questions, actually, maybe you can say a little bit about, I just did a brief introduction, but maybe you can say a little bit about yourselves and how did you get started, what you do and how you get started doing what you do.
We're both driven by our personal journeys, and that's what we always believe drives the best, most dedicated coaches out there. Cliff died a couple of times in his life and went through more of a physical journey through, spinal issues as soon as he was born, really, and ulcerative colitis, which is an autoimmune disease. I'm speaking for him, but it kind of came out, so I might as well continue.
Sure.
And then, from the autoimmune gut disease, having a brain tumor and meningitis of the brain, it's just been kind of continuous for the first 18 years of his life. And for me, it was more of an emotional journey through that I originally thought was just because of emotions, without realizing it was driven by my physical health as well, not being where it should be. So depression, panic attacks, and suicidal thoughts, and all horrible, horrible places that a lot of people find themselves in these days, and a lot of our clients find themselves in as well. So for both of us, combining that physical side of the body and the more emotional side of the body is what drives us forward. And this is what our mission is for people, to help people understand that by combining both the deeper understanding of what's going on in their physiology and understanding the emotional side, how it affects it as well, is something that gives them those results where they feel like they're limitless, where they feel like they return back to themselves quite often.
And that's very powerful. Cliff, I have to ask you, since you brought it up, you almost died, or you did die? Is that?
Yeah, it was quite a journey. I was born with a hyperflexibility in my spine, and they lost me at quite an early age. And then, I'm pretty stubborn, so I came back. And yeah, so I had some real. I was one of the first people in the UK to have a double fusion of my spine, like 30 years ago now, whatever it was. And then, when I was 15, I went through ulcerative colitis, which is an autoimmune disease, and suffered with that for 8 years until I stopped listening to the people telling me that nothing could be done. Now I've been symptom med-free for 6 years plus. And then, when I was 17, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. I've had a few close shaves, but it it allows me to understand the body at a level that probably not many people do, because I've had to experience it and go through it. So it allows me, for instance, when I get someone in front of me, to look at them at a whole nother perspective, rather than just saying, oh, eat this or do that. It's normally much deeper how we look at that.
And that's why I think, one of the things I'll say, to our listeners is, that's why I see this show as so different from like a conventional marketing podcast, because as coaches, therapists, like you guys are not just selling, it's not like you're selling shoes or, selling TV sets. You are helping people change their lives in a better way. So now I'll ask you the question of, you have something so valuable to share with people. How do you get the word out? What's your favorite content marketing strategies?
We actually very much enjoy being on podcasts with people and doing whether Google Hangouts or podcasts or interactions that are live and then could be recorded and then showed to even a wider audience, because we believe that when we actually speak to people, we connect with them best. So we love doing that, but rather than a specific strategy, we actually were talking about it earlier today, it's really just being authentic and understanding that, yes, there might be strategies that might help you, but the authenticity has to come first. When we speak from our heart and from our own personal journeys and experiences, that's how people resonate with us, because quite often we get everything confused. We feel like people act on logic, but we as humans act on emotions. We might feel that we're making our decision on logic, but we first connect on that emotional level through people's journeys and stories. So that's what's really moved us forward when we realized that we need to just be ourselves and be authentic and share our stories and journeys.
It's so true about the that's definitely been my experience as well, that we make decisions and then in our emotional side of our brain, and then we justify them. It's like the person who comes home with, all the stuff you didn't intend to buy, and you go, but it was on sale. And I love what you're saying too, that, I do think there's something really powerful about whether it's podcasts or, like you said, hangouts, that people can hear your passion. If they can see you, then they can see that, they can see that you care. There's that Emerson quote, who you are shouts so loudly in my ears, I cannot hear what you say. So I think what I hear you saying is that, like, we have to be authentic before we create any ploy or tactic or marketing strategy.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things within the strategy is, with us, whichever medium we use, whether it's podcasts or whether it's videos or whatever it might be, we literally give out our very best stuff. There's no holding back. There's no, here's 3 minutes of this and click here to get 10 minutes of that. Like, I just done a 15-minute video today all about the myth and the truths around adrenal fatigue, exhaustion and everything. And I didn't hold back anything. I just told them everything. Because I think if people can see that you're being genuine, you're not holding them back or anything, they naturally have much more know, like, and trust in you. So when they feel they can't do it themselves, they're just so much more likely to reach out.
What would you say, though? I know there's so many coaches who get so anxious about that, and they go, but if I give out my best content, then no one will buy my stuff, or they won't use my services. What would you say to that?
Beauty. We went through a short stage of being a little bit fearful of that as well. But what we learned and what we came to understand is that people can't really fully embrace it and do it themselves. They might comprehend and understand certain parts of it. They might experiment with certain bits, but we need guidance. We all need coaches and mentors and people that help us through the journeys, whether it's the health specific journey that we talk about or anything else. The more people we have around us that can support us and guide us through it, the quicker we're going to get to where we're going to get to. So having that understanding that when we actually put it out there with that genuine intention of giving all we've got, will actually bring more people back to us that would genuinely want to work with us, because they'll understand that we understand them. That's something that shifted for us. And I wouldn't say there was anything specific that shifted it. It was just a process of going through being scared initially of sharing everything and people not wanting to come to us, to then understanding, almost taking a leap and doing it and seeing how dramatically different the result was.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's certainly been my experience as well. That, my expertise is in podcasting, and I'll answer any question people want, and I'll give them anything, because at the end of the day, people at the end of the day, it's like you might have information, but you don't necessarily have. I think what a coach gives you is the guidance and the support and the wisdom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the absolute nail on the head. I think that's one of the biggest things. Me and Marta invest very heavily in all areas of our life. And it's not because I don't necessarily know about health, or Marta doesn't know how to, help someone's head to get into the right place, or whatever it might be, or business. But the thing is, we always need people to have almost that 30,000 foot view of us. Because when we're in it and we're so close, it's so easy to get caught up. And I'm sure you've experienced the same. So it's so easier to have someone outside who just looks in and goes, oh, well, X, Y, and Z. And it just makes things so clear so quickly.
So this is a segue into, as we're talking about, what you do and what works for you. What do you see? I know you guys work with a lot of coaches. What do you see as the biggest mistakes that coaches make when they try to get out there and share their offerings and their material with the world?
I think probably the biggest single mistake people make, and we were guilty of this very early on in our career, was being affected by what other people do and believing that we needed to be like someone else, or we needed to act in a certain way in order to relay our information, or whatever it might be. And I think that was one of the biggest non-congruencies, because, if you're someone who's, generally more of a loud mouth and really out there and you swear a little bit, it's going to come out really fake in your videos if you try and speak the Queen's English, not swear. Do you see what? People will feel it straight away. So I think for me, in our experience, the biggest thing I've seen is not being congruent all the way through. Because if someone meets you in the street and this is how you are, and then they see you on a video and you're completely different, all of a sudden we've lost credibility really fast.
I love it. I think that's so true. And I think that goes also for, as you were saying that, I was thinking also the content mediums, like people like, everyone's doing Periscope. You need to be, everyone's doing YouTube. Everyone's doing this. And it's like, we're not all necessarily, we're not all the same person, right? Yeah. So, but I love what you're saying, because we can feel it too, right? When someone's trying to be what they're not.
Yeah, absolutely. People just feel it straight away. It's one of the biggest disconnects I see from coaches. Is they're like, I really want to go down this avenue and be like this person. I'm like, okay, I understand what you're saying, but what do you want? What do you deep down love? What do you feel? Go do that. Because, you can carve a niche, you can carve a market. There's always there, especially in health or in any of these. There's so much need for health. There's enough for everyone to help. So it's, I don't think people need to just be that single visioned.
I love that. The other way around works too. I see people like, I'm never going to be that brash, controversial figure. I just don't have that personality. Yeah. And so, I've seen people go, well, I'm going to be like, Gary Vaynerchuk or something, or I'm going to be, whoever it is. And it doesn't work because you're not that person.
No, exactly.
I'm curious for you if you have I know you said you just put content out, but can you think of a particular, whether it's a podcast or hangout or, any kind of form of content that was really especially effective for you and why?
Yeah, I think one of them was addressing something for us. We just did it. I just done it off a whim. It was a video that I recorded, and it was just basically, it was a random piece of content just popped into my head.
It was random because a lot of people have great misconceptions, and we're smiling to each other here because it's funny. But yeah, a lot of people have great misconceptions around that subject. So yeah, let's carry on.
Okay, yeah.
Well, so really basically, like everyone comes to us, whether it be client or coach, and they all say about, I wake up at night 1 or 2 times, and I always go for a wee because I have to go for a wee during the night. And I'm like, that is complete rubbish. Like couldn't be any further from the truth unless you have some sort of bladder disease, blah blah blah. And so I just put this content out, just calling this out basically, and saying to people, gave them 1 or 2 action steps. And literally within less than a day, I think it had like 1,000 views on it, via nothing other than just people sharing it. Yeah. Like there was no promoted post or nothing. And then literally over the next week, there was people writing like their successes underneath. So yeah, it was, normally you'd think people would be a little bit shy about it, but actually it just really took hold. So it's probably the weirdest thing we did, but the most effective.
It's so funny. I love the, in America we would call it like, so how did you say it? It was taking a wee. Is that the? Yeah. It's that's great. But yeah, you clearly hit a nerve there, right? People had a lot of passion about that subject.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
What do you think it was? I mean, looking back, do you have any idea like what it was that really made that take off?
I think the thing is, it was so opposite to what people experience.
Right.
They were like, it was only ever going to go one or two ways. There was going to be people who watch it and just say, "Oh, this is BS," this is just not happening. And then there's other people going, "Well, hang on a minute, I've been doing this for so many years. Could it stop?" And as it just turned out, obviously it did work for so many people who tried it, right? Yeah. And I think I think the best stuff is always quite polarizing.
Right.
And I think that was probably what it was, is that it was quite polarizing in a post. Not in a, I'm not a really overly aggressive person. It's just not how I sit. Yeah. But I will tell the truth to what I believe the truth to be. So my videos are quite straight shooting.
That's great. Wow, yeah. So that was a very people had a lot of. Well, I think a lot of us. I mean, I think a lot of people just kind of have that story, like about this is what I have to do, right? Like this is.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I know you also have I was curious about. I know you have a Facebook group for coaches as well. I was curious if you could say a little bit about that. And I'm curious how that kind of fits in to your marketing.
Yeah, sure. So basically, the group we started was because we used to get reached out to by so many different coaches, therapists, personal trainers, alternative therapists, lots and lots of different types of people, just asking how we get the results we do with people. And they noticed that we get them out of places that just they would feel are impossible. So we basically went, okay, well, let's open this group. We're just going to brain dump in there. Like when we have downloads of, what helping people or what's being useful or how to connect with a client better, how to coach them in a nicer way that you're not, too aspirational with them so it doesn't frighten them. And just basically all the tools that we're learning from people above us, we're sharing with people that want to come up, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the idea of the group is just everybody helping each other, because I think one of the things with especially health and wellness and fitness is that there's quite a brutal mentality of competition.
Right.
And I think it's just nonsense. Me and Marta, we have, 200-300 people in that group, and everyone is in there and they have the same vision. They want to help people on it, whatever level it is. It doesn't matter. They're just in it to help people. And me and Marta, like we said before, we don't really hold anything back. Like if I have a download of that video for like 15 minutes, people are like, why would you tell everyone that? All the coaches, they'll go and start doing it with people.
Well, that's the best thing they can possibly do, right?
Yeah, so yeah, the idea is just basically to give as much as we can when we have our time to do it, to really show people that you can improve if you want to improve and you want to go to the next level. But it's also a forum for people to share their experiences, their successes, what's working for them as well. Because me and Mara are not like the chiefs in there, and everyone has to rule by us. It's more of an open community where people can go in there, share, ask questions, and they all feed back within each other as well.
I think that your desire to serve and to help others really comes across. And so it's not surprising to me that you've been able to attract lots of people, because I think that's a very attractive quality, to be able to do that. If people want to find that Facebook group, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, it's really easy. If you just go, I don't think there's many of them called. So if you just go into the search bar at the top and you put "help my clients," all one word, then it'll generally just pop up straight away, I think, in the search bar.
Yep, that was my experience. It was like the top one right there when you put it in.
Yeah, it's the top one.
And again, and also if people want to learn more about you, they can go to wildeperformance.com.
Yeah, correct. Spot on, yeah.
Cliff and Marta Wilde, thank you so much for joining me and sharing your words of wisdom. I greatly appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, it's been great fun. Thanks, Doug.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone, for listening. And I want to remind you that if you've not subscribed to the show, go ahead and visit iTunes, click the subscribe button. It takes 2 minutes. Not 2 minutes. It takes less than 30 seconds. And you'll get more great episodes Monday through Friday, helping you to work less, earn more, and help more people through creative content marketing. Till next time, this is Doug Foresta at the Coachzing Show.
Thank you for listening to the Coachzing Show. Subscribe to us via iTunes, and please leave us a review. It helps us grow our awesome tribe. This show is brought to you by Coachzing.com's Speak to Publish book system. If your book is stuck in your head, we can help you get it out in just a dozen hours of your time. Go to Coachzing.com for more information. Have you joined the Coach Zingers community yet? You'll get exclusive access to private mastermind calls where you can get instant marketing help from industry experts. Plus, we'll help you forge deals and partnerships with other like-minded professionals. Go to Coachzing.com/community to join now.